Yeah.
Cool, Brian, you there?
Yep.
Awesome, dude. Hey guys, welcome back to the detail launch. We are going ahead and we're sitting here with Bryant of Bees Mobile Auto Detailing. And Bryant was actually one of our first dozen students inside of the program. He went ahead and he grew his business from less than $4,000 per month to well over $10,000 per month for I think it's been over a year now, right, Bryant?
I think
So
September is when
September.
we were locked
Okay.
in.
Yeah, so about 9 months now. And so it's been almost a year,
Yeah.
almost a year. Let's get it to over the year mark. And so we have Brian here. He was nice enough to give us his time. He's going to go ahead and sit here. He's going to talk to us about his experience in the program, what his biggest takeaways were, and overall, would he do it again? And so, Brian, what initially got you interested in working with us? What exactly were you looking for some help with at the time?
I remember that I had seen your you had friended me on Facebook, and so I was seeing your content, and I saw you had shared something about how you were able to hit 20K with very low ad spend, something relevant to that. And I had messaged you and I was like, "Hey, I'm spending money on ads. I'm not getting a return. Help me." And so that was kind of like the initial thing to get me interested.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you saw one of our organic posts, which is absolutely great. I mean, obviously, a good mix of organic and paid stuff is good to bring customers in. And so, I mean, further than just the ads, like what is it that you were struggling with at the time that you were like really looking for help with?
Um, well, it seemed like that if when I was the way I was running ads, it was ebbing and flowing. So some months it was pretty good, things would work, and then there was months where you know stress is through the roof because I don't know if I'm going to be able to make some payments on time. You know what I mean? So there's a huge stress factor. So it was just volatile on the revenue side of things. I wasn't having a consistent flow of cash. It was more like clients would call in and I'd book them the next day because that's how available I was. Not being, a full schedule, raking in lots of cash. So it was just kind of just wanting to find something more structured to keep the business consistent and profitable.
Mhm. Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, a lot of what you were struggling with was also your packaging. And so, didn't you have several packages coming into the program?
I did have a couple of options that it was I basically had like five or six packages, and then getting into the program I dumbed it down to three packages total, and they are all high ticket as far as the average, clientele. Average ticket is probably like $300, per client right now, or actually 400. I'm sorry. So average 400 per client, and they're booking one of these three packages, or they're doing paint corrections and ceramic coatings.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now you have this amazing system in place. It's bringing in high ticket customers all the time. But when you first came in, you were struggling to bring customers in consistently. You had a wide array of packages, and people were choosing the cheapest one 99% of the time. And I mean, that's what a lot of detailers struggle with is they go ahead and they look at the market and they say, what's everyone charging? And they'll see an ad for someone doing $50
Hmm.
details. They'll see an ad for someone doing $350 details. They'll see an ad for someone doing $100
Hmm.
details. They're like, I'm just gonna pick somewhere in the middle, like 150, 200, and then make it a little bit cheaper so that I'm competitive. But the reality is that doesn't work from a business perspective. I mean, you yourself, you're now on the verge of going ahead and getting ready to hire employees. If you're not making at least $100 an hour, you can't afford that. You can't afford to
Hmm.
have employees,
Right.
multiple units, products, and all of that. And so what was that initial call like? Because I remember hopping on the phone with you for the first time, hopping on a Zoom call kind of like this. And we talked for quite a
Hmm.
while. So what was that like for you?
The initial Zoom call was, I think we kind of just touched base on some of my struggles and stuff like that. And, we got kind of real with each other. And I was trying to be as honest as possible so that way you knew what you needed to do to actually help. Which you understood, you were basically telling me that, I'm just lacking in consistency and having an empty schedule and living every day, not knowing if I was going to be able to detail that day. You kind of address that stuff. And, when you had ultimately told me, the investment and everything, I was shook. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little shocked, sticker shock, but it was definitely worth it in the long run of things.
Yeah, and at one point, weren't you even telling me like, hey, I just don't want to make the investment just because like the sticker shock?
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to pay my bills if I pay you, basically.
And do you remember I told you I'm like, Brian, if you make this investment, I'll make sure you can pay way more than your bills. I was like, you're going to
Yeah.
be able to afford way more than your bills even are right now. And I mean, was that true or not?
Yeah, no, I mean that following week, once we were signed up and I had went and did the course and did all the research in your software that you had set up and your lessons, I basically was ready to roll. And that following week, I had actually made like almost four. I think I was like slightly under $4,000 for the week, which was the one of the highest weeks we've ever had.
Yeah.
Um, so it was really cool to kind of experience that, and that was only off of a couple of jobs. It really wasn't that many.
Yeah, I remember. I actually use that testimonial all the time. It's actually my favorite. I use it in like all of our pages and everything. It was four thousand five hundred
Hmm.
dollars in 5 days.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was that was that was a crazy week. And so now that we've gone ahead, we talked about what it was like when you first started, like what you were struggling with, not being able to afford your bills, not being able to afford the business, not kind of struggling with some debt issues, right? And now we've talked about like what it was like
Hmm.
initially when you got into the program. What does what was your favorite parts about the program? And then what does your business look like now because of it?
I think having the sales structure was my favorite part of the business because that was something that I was lacking in. I didn't really have a sales structure for my business. And then what else would I say? Just the offers for the ads as well was something that was really helpful. So, now we implemented a lot of the same strategies as far as the type of ads we run. Granted, we've made it more personal to our business, using our own content and stuff like that, which you kind of recommended. That way it kind of builds the personal brand. Um, but yeah, using stuff like that and then having a sales process, not advertising my prices and things like that. These are all things that I do now. I'd rather advertise my services, do the work, talk to the client, and go through a whole conversation and make sure that they know exactly what they're getting and that they're, excited for it. Because, you want to transfer that energy and you can't really transfer that
Mhm.
energy through text message when they're saying, what's the price? And you're like, oh, it's 250 or whatever it is that you start as your bottom rate. So you know what I mean. Having the sales process, the ads, and all the structure is things that we use, and I enjoyed that part the most in the program.
Yeah, because a lot of what agencies do, especially in the detailing space, is they're just kind of like, hey, pay us. We're just gonna run ads and print money. And although yes, running ads will make money, that's not really how it works. It's like
Hmm.
running ads gets you leads. Leads aren't anything but people who are interested. You need to have a sales process that takes them from I'm interested to okay, I'm considering buying to okay, here's my credit card number. And so when we go ahead and we went into your business, we coached you and we coached several times a week for several months on exactly how to implement the sales process. That's kind of what made the biggest increase inside of your business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because when you're taking deposits, you're not losing money every day. You're getting at least, let's say you're running ads at $50, $60 a day, and you get, 4 or 5 leads out of that, and you book two of them and secure like a $60 to $80 deposit, more depending on the ticket of the service. you've covered your ad spend for that day, maybe even 2, 3 days in advance just with that. So you're really not losing money throughout the process when you are running ads because you're taking deposits and you're booking those clients.
Yeah,
And I've
absolutely. And
had
I mean,
people who've given me deposits and they they cancel and the deposit's not non-refundable. So I didn't lose money getting that lead. You know what I mean? And I book two more, three more people right after I get off the phone with that person who canceled because that's how busy things are.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's one of the best parts about taking deposits, especially, is when you take a deposit, but when you do it correctly, it's what we call the client finance acquisition, right? And so when we went ahead and did that in
Hmm.
your business, it essentially creates like an infinite marketing cycle because you never have to go ahead and stop running your ads. Because instead of saying, oh, I'm spending $50 a day on ads, it's I'm making $100 a day because I'm taking three $50 deposits or two $80 deposits. And so it actually, you're making money
Hmm.
without even going out and doing the work yet. And then also, people don't no show because they put a deposit. They're financially incentivized to show up. And so by doing these things, it kind of creates a culture of this virtuous cycle of run ad, make money, service customer, run more ad, make more money, service customer, rather than run ad, lose a bunch of money, service some customers, barely break even, try to run some ads to make some more money,
Hmm.
service some customers, barely break even, and so forth. And so, dude, I'm so glad that's been helpful for you. And so, a lot of times when we hop on calls, and this is even something you said when we hopped on the call, um, people go, I can't afford this. This isn't in my budget. It's not
Hmm.
the right time because like it's just a money thing. What do you have to say to those people? Like,
Right.
would you go back and do the same thing again?
Yeah, I would absolutely sign up. I mean, when you look into it, I've pretty much like 20x, what the initial investment was in just a couple months. So, you know, I mean, it's like this. If you could get a mansion for $1,000, you would find a way to make $1,000, right? You know what I mean? So it's like if it's worth it to you and it's something you actually need and want, you'll find a way to make it work. And luckily, Nathan's a super flexible guy, and he's willing to find out how to make it a financial gain for you, so that you're not losing in the long run of things, which is really helpful for especially for detailers and mobile detailers specifically.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously the flexibility depends on the personal situation. And so that's what we're here for is to help detailers at the end of the day. We're not here to make sales, make money. We're here to help detailers. And so, with that being said, you would go back and do it again. What about people who say, because you have a girlfriend, long-term girlfriend, you guys I'm not sure if you guys moved in together or are moved in together at this point, but obviously you have people who depend on you. And one of the biggest things that people are scared of is what if I make this sort of investment and then I go ahead and I can't support my wife, I can't support my kids, right? And so, what would you say to people who are like, I need my wife's approval? Do you think that their spouse, just based on the results you've gotten, would approve of a decision like this?
I mean, I didn't tell my spouse, when I had signed up. I mean, I told him what the initial cost was, without even mentioning what the reoccurring cost was going to be. So it was kind of a little bit of a gamble there, but she understood what I was getting out of it, and it's one of those things is sometimes when you are running a business, you have to make tough decisions, and people who aren't in that situation, in that state of mind, as you are, aren't going to understand why you even want to make that decision. So why would you want to, spoil the opportunity by talking to somebody who's not going to want to understand what you're going through and your stress? And granted, most relationships, people do understand each other on a good level like that, but still, you're the one who's taking the risk running the business. You're the one who's trying to make it a profitable business, and making a profitable business is sacrifices. And sometimes the sacrifice is investing a lot of money, and sometimes it's making a decision alone.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. And so I remember there was one more thing you told me. and it was, Nathan, now's just not the right time. I'm extremely busy. I have so much going on. I just don't know if I can make this work. And as a business owner, we're always busy. We're like, I'm a business owner, you're a business owner. Everyone who hops on a call with us is a business owner. And so I understand that. And so do you think that this is doable for someone who's a busy business owner?
Well, I remember that when I was in your program, there was another guy who was in your program who worked a full-time job and he was making, 20,000 almost a month doing that. So he was working a full-time job detailing, making almost 20 grand a month. I think that
Yeah.
there's always the right time. You're gonna make time for whatever's important to you at the end of the day.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. And by the way, he rejoined in and he's making over $10,000 a month consistently, and he works like part time. So he's
Nice.
still killing it. He's still killing it. And so, yeah, I mean, Brian, that's pretty much all the questions I have for you, dude. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Thank you for coming on here, shooting this video, and giving back to the people, whoever is on this page, website, YouTube, wherever this video is up. Thank you for watching along with me and Brian. I'm glad you've had continued success, man, and I hope you continue to succeed down the road.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on, and I'm more than happy to try to get people to walk the right direction. Because being a laborer and running a business at the same time, it's a lot of stress, and to be able to have somebody guide you through that is invaluable.
100%, man. 100%. And so, dude, thank you for your time. I'm going to end this recording. And so I will tell you guys, if you guys are on a page or something, book a call. If you guys are on YouTube or something, go shoot me a message on Instagram, social media, Nate, the real Nathan Macias. And I will talk to you guys later. See ya.